Hello and Assalamu alaikum guys. Welcome to Learning A Levels Chemistry with Kashif Ali Sahgal. We are doing inorganic chemistry and today we are discussing group 2 from the inorganic chemistry or AS level syllabus. In this chapter you will study about the physical properties of group 2 elements, their reactions with oxygen, with water, and the nature of their oxides, hydroxides, and then thermal stability of their carbonates and nitrates, and finally the solubility of their hydroxides and sulfates, and some uses of group 2 compounds as well. So starting with physical properties of group 2 elements. So we know that group 2 elements have electronic configuration and in a group all the elements have similar electronic configuration of their valence shell. So they all belong to S block elements just like alkali metals of group 1, and they have a configuration of S2. So they have two electrons in the S subshell as a valence subshell. They all exhibit an oxidation state of +2 because they have two electrons in the valence shell and they lose it to form +2 charge ion. So they are all metals except beryllium, which has slightly different properties, but they all show +2 charge. The next property is variation in their atomic size or atomic radius. As you know, down the group, in any group you go down the group, the atomic radii increases due to the increase in number of shells, increase in the shielding effect. Although the number of protons and electrons increases, but the shielding effect and the atomic radius and the increase in the number of principal quantum number or shell number, therefore the sizes increases due to the weaker attraction between the nuclei and the valence electrons. So beryllium is the smallest and barium is the largest of this group. Next property is their variation in first ionization energy. You know that ionization energy decreases down the group. So the same trend is regularly followed in this group, like in group 1 or in group 17. The highest ionization energy is of beryllium and that of lowest is of that barium. And you know that metals, group 1 metals, group 2 metals, any other metals, their reactivity depends upon their ionization energy. So as the ionization energy decreases down the group, the ease of losing electron becomes greater. The electron can be lost more easily because of the less attraction. So the reactivity of group 2 metals increases just like the reactivity of group 1 metal increases. So they are the same pattern and there is a regular trend. The reason behind that is that down the group again the shielding effect increases and the distance from the nucleus, center of the nucleus and the valence shell increases. So the hold of the on the electron of the valence shell from the nucleus becomes weaker, weaker and weaker. Next property is the trend in their melting points. In group 1, you have studied in O levels that there is a regular decrease in melting point down the group. So the same thing is there. If we start from beryllium to magnesium to calcium to strontium and barium, we will see that there is a general decrease in the melting points. But if you see the graph of the melting point, which is the graph given above, the first graph, magnesium has much lower melting point compared to that of calcium. Actually, it should have a melting point much higher, but it has unexpectedly low because of the weaker metallic bond. The rest of the elements show a regular trend. So magnesium has shown a deviation. Otherwise, magnesium, beryllium, calcium, strontium, and barium are following the correct trend. Magnesium has a deviated melting point, it is much lower and it should have been slightly above the calcium, but it's much lower than that of calcium. So melting points show a decrease except magnesium. Then we come to the next property is their densities. You know that in group 1 elements, densities increases down the group from lithium to sodium to potassium, but lithium, sodium, potassium have densities less than 1, so they float. Below potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium has densities more than 1, so they sink. The group 2 elements, they are also S block elements, they are also metals, So we expect that the densities also increases down the road, and that's almost the same, almost there. But there is a small deviation that magnesium and calcium have densities less than we expect. So beryllium to magnesium there is a slight decrease, and from magnesium to calcium again there is a slight decrease. But from calcium to strontium and barium there is a regular increase, which is the regular trend, that is the expected trend. But magnesium and calcium has shown a slight deviation. But all the density of all the group 2 elements is much higher than one, so they all sink and no one floats on water. Next property is variation in the electronegativity. So we know that metals have very low electronegativity. They do not have the power to attract the electrons. And then you go down the group, the electronegativity further decreases due to the increase in atomic radius and weaker attractive forces between the nucleus and the valence electrons. So the sizes are too big to attract the electron towards itself. Then now comes the chemical properties of group 2 elements. First is the reaction of group 2 elements with oxygen or air. So generally they do not react, they are not that reactive like group 1 elements to react immediately with air. But barium is a metal. Down the group we have seen that reactivity increases. So barium can react readily with oxygen and it has to be kept under oil. But remaining element from beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, they are not that much reactive. So you need to provide them an ignition. You have to put them in a flame and then they start reacting with oxygen and they burn with a characteristic flame color. Magnesium burns with a brilliant white flame, intense white light. Calcium burns with a brick red flame. Strontium burns with a crimson red flame, and barium burns with an apple green flame. All of them react with oxygen to form metal oxides, and metal oxides are all basic except beryllium, which is an amphoteric. The rest of them are white solids and they form oxides, basic oxides. So MgO, calcium oxide, CaO, SrO, and BaO is formed, and a characteristic color is also seen. Then comes reaction with water. All of them will sink, but their reactivity, you know that it increases down the group. So we expect that when we place magnesium in water at room temperature, being the least reactive, it will react very slowly, and that's the same thing. That is the thing that happens. So magnesium burns very slowly with the water at room temperature to form magnesium hydroxide, and hydrogen gas is released. Magnesium hydroxide is sparingly soluble, it's almost insoluble, so the solution has a pH of nearly 7 to 8 pH. Whereas as you go down the group, the reactivity with cold water increases, so calcium reacts violently or vigorously to form calcium hydroxide and hydrogen. Strontium reacts even more violently, just like sodium or lithium, and it may cause flame or hydrogen to burn and cause pop. Strontium hydroxide alkali is formed and hydrogen gas is released. Barium also reacts with water much violently, just like potassium, and it forms barium hydroxide, which is an alkali, and hydrogen gas is released. But all of them sinks down. So you see that the metal will be sink, and the bubbles of gas of hydrogen are coming out, and the reaction as you go down becomes faster and faster and more rapid and more vigorous. Beryllium does not react with cold water, and even at very high temperature, it is because it is protected by an oxide layer. So beryllium is an exception, so you leave it aside. So so how can we react magnesium with an appreciable speed? So you need to pass steam through magnesium. When you pass steam through magnesium, it reacts readily, but the product is slightly different. It is magnesium oxide solid and hydrogen gas. Now the reaction is fast. So MgO solid white solid is formed and hydrogen gas is formed. Reaction with acids. Group 2 elements also react with acids just like other metals, like group 1 or group transition metals, to form hydrogen gas and salts. But the rate of reaction becomes faster as you go down. So you expect that magnesium reacts quite slowly, but barium will react quickly and the reaction will be too fast to occur. Next is group 2 oxides, hydroxides and carbonates. We have just studied that group 2 oxides are basic except beryllium, which is amphoteric. The rest of them are basic. But the oxides of calcium, strontium and barium are soluble in water to form alkali, but the oxide of magnesium is insoluble or sparingly soluble, so it does not readily dissolve in water. Group 2 hydroxides Down the group 2 hydroxides become more alkaline because they are becoming more soluble as the solubility increases. So the group 2 hydroxide solubility increases down the group. Uh, that's why their pH also increases. Magnesium oxide, magnesium hydroxide is very less soluble, so its pH is 8, 7 to 8. Then calcium has a pH of 10. As you go down, barium hydroxide has a pH of 14. So that the reason is that group 2 hydroxide solubility increases. This will be explained energetically in A2 course because this involves lattice energy and hydration enthalpy and then enthalpy change of solutions as well. Next is group 2 carbonates. Group 2 carbonates are insoluble in water but they react with acids to form salt, water and carbon dioxide. Next is solubility of group 2 sulfates. As you go down, the solubility of group 2 sulfates decreases and decreases. It is opposite to that of the solubility of hydroxides. Hydroxide solubility increases, but the solubility of sulfates decreases, so much so that barium sulfate and strontium sulfate forms white precipitate and they do not dissolve. Uh, uh, if you see by naked eye, they do not seem to dissolve. But when we will study in A2 ionic equilibria, we will get to know that nothing is insoluble. Everything is soluble to a greater or smaller extent. But magnesium sulfate is fully soluble and calcium sulfate is again sparingly soluble. So if you add calcium sulfate, it will dissolve to some extent and then white solid is also settled down. Next is thermal decomposition. So first we'll study the thermal decomposition of their nitrates and then the thermal stability of their carbonates. Both of their carbonates or nitrates, their stability increases down the group. As you go down, the stability increases. So if it means that magnesium carbonate and magnesium nitrate is the least stable and it will decompose at a very low temperature. It will decompose on slight heat. Carbonates decompose to form metal oxide and carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the gas which turns lime water milky and a white solid is left. Whereas if you decompose a nitrate, you will get a metal oxide, white solid, and brown gas, nitrogen dioxide, and a colorless gas, oxygen, which relights the glowing flint. So two gases are evolved by the decomposition of nitrates, but only one gas is released by the thermal decomposition of carbonates. But the point is the stability of both carbonates and nitrates increases down the road. It means that if you have magnesium carbonate and barium carbonate and you start heating them, magnesium carbonate will immediately decompose, whereas barium carbonate is stable up to a temperature of about 2000 degrees C. Same thing will happen with nitrates. So thermal stability increases. The reason behind their increasing stability is dependent on their lattice energies and the extent of polarization of the cation on the anion. As you go down, the cationic radius increases, its charge density decreases, and smaller the cation, greater the polarization of the anion, and greater the polarization of the anion, less stable it is. So smaller cation, greater polarization of the negative anion, and it is easily to decompose. That's why magnesium carbonate or magnesium nitrate is easiest to decompose because of the higher, very large, very high charge density of the cation and very high polarization. The polarization means distortion of the electron cloud of the anion, which makes it, the greater the distortion, easier to decompose it. So now comes the uses of group 2 compound. You know that magnesium oxide आपने वो level में पढ़ा हुआ है, it is used in making refractory bricks because it has a very high melting point. So it is used in furnaces. Calcium oxide, calcium carbonate, calcium sulfate, these are used as you know about calcium oxide is quicklime, calcium hydroxide is slackline. So they are used in industry of cement industry and in plaster industry. So these are some uses. You may find other uses of these compounds as well. So see you in the next class.